Hello everyone, this is Fireheart and today we are gonna be talking about what makes a Genshin Impact account powerful. To start, let's talk about if you should reroll your account or not. If you are just starting the game, that is. Now, I will say if you reroll your account will be more powerful out of the gate, but might not be too much powerful than an account that has not rerolled. That is, if you get a character. I would say if you get a weapon right off the bat, that account will be much better. Now let's talk a bit about the characters. Start off, let's talk about their levels. Should you level them up to level 80, level 90, level 70? Well, that depends on the character. If it is a character that you use a lot, you should definitely level 90 that character eventually. No rush, especially if they're not scaling with HP or defense. My Zhongli here, he does scale with HP, he has 56,000 HP because I basically use him for his shield, so I level him to level 90. You can see my Bennett is also level 90 because I use him for healing and he scales off HP for healing. Jiangling, I use her a lot, so do Ganyu. Now, albeit there's not too much an incentive to level him up, but he does scale off defense, and to level 80 to level 90 he gets a good boost of defense. That's why I level 90 him. Another characters like Diana also scale off HP and so on. So if you want to level 90 a character, be assured that he will be more powerful. However, the power might not be too much of an improvement. Some characters, let's just say Chi-Chi, you can just leave her at level 70, there's no need to level her up to level 80 unless you want to up her talents. Now back here on our example of Zhongli. Now what weapon do I use for Zhongli? My Zhongli is running the Black Tassel. Refinement 2 because refinement for this weapon literally does not matter. All I want here is the HP. HP grants a massive 46.9%. Now the other options for Zhongli are mostly for his damage. You can use various other options. The most famous ones are the Favonius Lance and the Catch. However, my Zhongli is not built to do damage and has to shield the other characters. Now let's talk about artifact sets. My Zhongli is running Tenacity of Millilith 4-piece to max out his HP and to help out the team with the 4-piece. His stats are prioritizing HP most of all, with a bit of energy recharge, a bit of damage. My damage does not matter all that much for this build. Therefore my Zhongli is basically running just 4-piece Tenacity of Millilith to make his shield stronger. Now let's talk about other characters. Let's say my Ganyu. Here you can see that my Ganyu is wearing a 4-piece Wondrous Troop for her melt composition. As you can see, the team that I have right now consisting of Zhongli, Bennett, Xiangling and Ganyu is very popular for the melt capabilities. You can basically hit shots with Ganyu that will do more than 100,000 damage. I will quickly scroll through for you guys to see. Here are the artifacts, as you saw. Now for different characters you want different stats. For example, my Ganyu prioritizes first cryo damage bonus, which is only on the goblet, crit rate and crit damage. Then goes attack, specifically attack percent, you don't want flat attack. Most of flat stats you do not want. Then goes elemental mastery, and far behind is energy recharge. And HP and defense and their percentage variance literally do not matter for Ganyu. Now for another example here we have Diana. My Diana runs a sacrificial bow, so she can act as a battery for more efficiency. Her sacrificial bow also provides extra energy recharge. She is running 2-piece Emblem of Severed Fate, 2-piece Tenacity of Millilith, and her stats are prioritizing HP very heavily followed by energy recharge and flat HP. Any other stat on Diona does not matter. Now let's have a quick talk about Constellations. Of course, Constellations cost money. You don't really want to invest too much in Constellations, but Constellations are a great source of power for many characters. However, if you are free to play, there's no need to go spending an egregious amount of money in this game. There's literally no incentive in this game to spend much money unless you want the character, of course. The power that you get for Constellations is not necessary to beat all of the game, and of course Constellations provide easy way to get more power. Let's talk about talents and talents prioritization. As you can see, my Ganyu here is sporting a triple count set of 10, 10, 10 on her normals and charge, on her elemental skill, and on her elemental burst. Of course, someone like Ganyu makes uses of all three talents, but someone like Zhongli, as you can see here, I have here his normal attack literally on 1, because you will never use his normal attacks anyway. However, his elemental skill is at level 9, so is his ultimate, although I don't use it very much, but his elemental skill is at level 9, it is the most useful part of him in my opinion. You can also crown this ability if you want. I am thinking of crowning it myself, but I just don't have the books yet. Someday I will, and my Zhongli will be crowned. Some other characters, in my opinion, just like Yoimiya here, you don't really need to 10 her elemental burst. But why did I 10 her elemental burst? Why, simply because I like Yoimiya. As you can see, I have my Yoimiya fully built. I will make a video on her on the future when her banner comes up. And it's okay for sometimes if you want to build a character just because you like that character. If you want me to cover a specific character, please leave a comment in the comments down below and I will reply to your comment, or I will maybe even make a video out of it. Now let's talk a bit about team compositions. As you can see here, my team composition at the moment is the classic Melt Ganyu, consisting of Zhongli, Bennett, Xianglin, and Ganyu. How does this team play? For example, Zhongli, I use him just for his shield, so I use Zhongli E, Bennett Q, Bennett E. This will give energy particles to Xianglin. Xianglin will use her burst and her elemental skill. Then we go to Ganyu to deal the damage. This is the classic melt team. If you don't know how to build many compositions by yourself, you can just look up on the internet. There are many people on the Reddit always talking about compositions. But let's talk a bit about how you can think of a composition yourself. Now look at this composition. This was the first composition that I used to beat the Spiral Abyss. It consists of Chinchou, Bennett, Sucrose, and Diluc. Now this composition became very popular, known as the Diluc National Composition, but I used to use this composition a lot before it got popularized. Why and how did I make this composition? It was pretty simple. Basically, I look for Chinchou and Diluc, they will vaporize together. Bennett is here just to give a buff, and so is Sucrose. Sucrose can group up enemies. However, my Sucrose is using Trillion Tails of Dragon Slayers and has a high elemental mastery. This will increase even further the damage of Diluc. Now I don't use this composition anymore because my Diluc got replaced by Yoimiya. Let's look at a recent Yoimiya composition that I made. Here it is. I used Xianglin, Bennett, Sucrose, and Yoimiya. As you can see, two elements are still present of that composition, but why am I using Xianglin, Sucrose instead of using my better characters? Now this composition was used in the Spiral Abyss while I was fighting the Hydro Mimic. Against the Hydro Mimics, I found that the best solution that I had was to throw Pyro at them as much as possible. That is why 3 of the 4 members of this team are Pyro, Sucrose is here again for the buff on the Elemental Mastery. Although there is no teammates that apply Hydro to enemies, the Hydro mimics were Hydro themselves, which made that every attack that I landed on them made them vaporize. Changeling is here in this composition basically to assist killing the enemies faster, which is what you want in the Abyss. Now, if you have a new account, how do I make my own team? Even if there is nothing on the internet, maybe it's a new character, I want to make a powerful team composition. How do I do that? Well, in my opinion, you have to start by selecting a DPS character. Let's say here that my Razor is the character that I want to use, is the most powerful character that I have on my account right now, or we can replace a Razor here with any character that has not been released yet. Now let's see, take a look at Razor. What is Razor Strength? Well, Razor Strength is dealing a good amount of physical damage while still applying Electro to enemies. Now to complement Razor and give him the elemental synergy that he needs, we need a cryo character to make superconduct. For my characters here, I have a few options for dealing superconduct, but let's say I got unlucky, I didn't get magic characters, and all I have is a Chi-Chi. Now Chi-Chi works pretty well with Razor. Chi-Chi can fill the role of a healer, and Chi-Chi will make the superconduct happen. Now what else can I put in to make Razor even more powerful during his time in the field? Let's take a look again at our characters. Let's say Razor uses a lot of normal attacks, so any character that attacks together with Razor, say Chinchou or Beidou, will be a good support for him. But let's put Chinchou for the extra elemental reaction. This team is already shaping up to be quite good, but what else can we put in to make it even better? Now for this fourth and final position, I would recommend putting something that will buff him even more, or you can put in Zhongli for shielding, or maybe Diona if you need. However, if you have Diona, you may want to replace Chi-Chi with her instead of putting her in the 4th position. But let's say many people have the character Bennett, so let's put him here. Now we have all of our characters here, but what is the order that we are gonna use him on the field? Now let's think a bit about it. We can put Razor on our last position because Razor will be the last by using his damage, because he has to stay on field to deal damage. Now since Chi-Chi won't stay on the field that much, you will basically just press E and kill with her. We can put her in the first slot, so we can put Chinchou and we can make Bennett our 3rd position. This will make a clear rotation of Chi-Chi elemental skill, Chinchou elemental burst and elemental skills, Bennett elemental burst and elemental skill, and then we switch to Razor to make the classic use of skill, burst, skill again and normal attacks. This will make quite a formidable starter team comp for you. Now let's talk about our final part of the video here, which is arguably the most important part, wishing. Now I have 2 advices to give you right off the bat when it comes to wishing. The first advice that I have is to wish only for 5-star characters. Now 5-star characters are usually more powerful than 4-star characters, but if you have enough Primogems, you are guaranteed to get that 5-star character. But 4-star characters are never guaranteed. You are always guaranteed one of the 3, but never a specific one of the 3. And my second advice to you is do not, and I repeat, do not try to build pity. Building pity is one of my biggest mistakes that I made in my account. As you can see here, I have Albedo and Ganyu. Now, if you think about it, I do not spend money on this game, so how did I get these 2? So first, while wishing for Albedo, I wanted really a Bennett. I really wanted a Bennett. Everyone on the internet was saying how powerful Bennett was, but I really wanted a Bennett. But instead, I used my guaranteed that I have because I had lost a previous 50-50 and I got Albedo, which left me with no Primogems left to get Ganyu. Now let's say I did have Primogems, I had about 18,000 Primogems, but that was not enough to get Ganyu. So when I got Albedo, Albedo is not too bad in my opinion. As you saw him in the tier list, he's very mid tier. I don't think he's weak or powerful. But that left me with a bad taste in my mouth. I really wanted Ganyu and I had to wait for her rerun at the time. So of course when the time came, I have more than enough wishes to get Ganyu. During the Ganyu rerun, she came with Shenhe, Xiao, Zhongli and Ganyu, and I got Ganyu, Xiao and Zhongli all at the same time, which granted me a huge boost to my account. Now you may be asking yourself, which 5 stars should I wish for? Now I have a few checklists for myself on what characters do I wish for. As you can see here, I have a lot of Primogems built up. For a free-to-play player that is a whale, this is nothing for them. But which character will I pull on in the future? To be honest with you, I am not sure myself. There are a lot of characters coming up in the future. However, looking at a character is only the first step for me. Let's take a look again at Ganyu. As you may or may not know, Ganyu is my favorite character. And why is Ganyu my favorite character? Well, it comes down to a few things. Number 1, character aesthetics. I really like the aesthetics of Ganyu. She's very pretty, she's very hot, she is amazing for me. Now, number 2, why do I like Ganyu so much? Ganyu is extremely powerful. As you saw, I talked about in a previous video that Ganyu is, in my opinion, the most powerful character in Genshin Impact, especially if you are a free-to-play player. And third, and not least, we have character, story, and presence. Now various characters in Genshin Impact, they get released and they never see them in the stories again. Now Ganyu, I really like her, she has appeared in quite a bit of stories, she's always there when it comes to Liyue. If you read her entire character story here, it is very interesting, the duality of her being an Adeptus and a human at the same time, how she got her vision and everything is very interesting to me. Now for the final part on wishing, let's talk about weapons. Now I will say this, no free-to-play should ever wish on the weapon banner unless you are willing to take the risk. Now let me give you an example of what I did to get myself a 5-star weapon in my second account here. This is my second account, as you can see. Many different characters, basically the only character that I have in common as a 5-star of limited banner is Zhongli. That is just because he is very good on both compositions that I wanted. But here we have Hu Tao and her Staff of Homa. Now how did I get a Staff of Homa? Well, to be honest with you, it was basically gambling. I had a total of 23,000 Primogems at a time and I was thinking about should I get Hu Tao's Constellation 1, which is not guaranteed to be honest with 23,000 wishes, or should I get the Staff of Homa? Now as you can already see here, I did get 2 copies of Elegy for the End in my wishes. However, the first copy of Elegy for the End, thankfully for me, came very early and I did get the 2 copies plus the guaranteed Staff of Homa, but I would not advise anyone doing this unless you are willing to take the risk for it. Of course, when the weapon banner has 2 amazing weapons on it, the risk is far less, which you could make use of the weapons. Right here, I don't have a use for the Elegy for the End second copy for now, and I do not want to refine it to give it to my Diana. However, the Elegy for the End is not a bad weapon. I'm pretty sure in the future, if I have a good support bow user, I will put the Elegy for the End on them. My Hu Tao got a massive power spike by getting the Staff of Homa. The Staff of Homa gave her more powerful than she would get by getting her Constellation 1. And since both of them were not guaranteed, I tried my luck at getting the Staff of Homa. In my opinion, character variety is far more important when it comes to wishing. If you have Hu Tao and Yoimiya both on the same account, that is not a very good idea because they are both pyro DPS users. If you were to get, let's say, Hu Tao and Ganyu on the same account, now that is a lot more bang for your buck. Character variety and elemental variety is also very important because the Spiral Abyss is always changing, and sometimes if you have just a few elements in your party that can deal damage, the elemental shields are come to get you. The elemental shields, such as the Abyss Herald and the Abyss Mages, are gonna eat up your time in the Abyss. Now, if you have a lot of characters with elemental variety, let's say we have an Abyss Herald in the Abyss, I can just use my Kamisato Ayaka and absolutely destroy their shield before they get a chance. Now let's say we have a bunch of Mimics in the Spiral Abyss. Now for the Mimics I have 2 options. I have both Hu Tao and I have the Raiden Shogun that will deal with them very quickly as well. I also have Tartaglia, which I got here just because he's the only DPS Hydra user at the time. I know that Ayato we have now is also a Hydra DPS user, however we did not have Ayato at the time in the game, so I got Tartaglia. That is it for today, folks. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other videos on the channel. We are building quite a nice catalog of videos. Most of them are Genshin Impact related, so I know you guys might like that. But that is it for this video. If you really liked it, you can share it with your friends or on the internet. Like the video so the YouTube algorithm will look more favorably towards my channel and we can build a better community together. Thanks for watching.